And roll, my friends. Let's rock and roll. Are you ready? Are you ready for a nice, long live stream? Here we go, my friends. Here we go. Who do we have first in the house? The topic that I have chosen is hazard pay. And I went and invested into one of these electronic hats like my dear friend Dustin, because not only do I think he's ultra cool when he wears his hat, but the topic comes across, right? So if people are coming into the room and they say, what on earth is this YouTuber or influencer talking about? There it is, my friend. There it is. Okay. Now, the topic that I've chosen, I truly believe that every driver out there in these times, and hopefully these times pass very quickly, but let's just hypothetically say, let's just say this is another 4-month storm, right? We're in March till April to May till June. Hopefully by the end of July, things go back to normal, right? All drivers, whether you are with Uber, whether you are with Lyft, whether you're driving with Instacart, whether you are driving for Postmates, for Doordash, for Grubhub, if you're a taxi driver, if you're a limo driver, no matter what gig you do, right, these companies should honor hazard pay or danger pay, right? So if you could turn to social media, if you can turn to social media and say, hey, we're going to take a position on April Fool's Day, right? We say 1 week on, 1 week off between Uber and Lyft. But if we can make this movement even larger and say, let's take a week off and take a stand on hazard pay. Every single one of these companies, my friends, Amazon included, right, should have a provision, should have a category built into their app called hazard pay. I think this is vital in these times, right? That no matter what the fee is upon checkout, maybe there's 10, 15, 20% extra charge to the are there any other live streams going on at the moment? Does anybody know? Because usually there's way more people in the house. Is anybody else conducting a live stream? Maybe I should have checked upon that first, right? We're at 4:10 p.m. It's West Coast time here. I'm in LA. And usually by this time, we have a lot of people in the room. But we need to rally together, ladies and gentlemen, for hazard pay. This is very important. We need to put the pressure on these companies, on all these gig companies, no matter who you work for. We got to turn to social media. We got to tweet. We got to get into the Facebook pages. We got to get on the YouTube channels. And we need to get the word out on hazard pay, right? So we can build a buzz around hazard pay. Now, Instacart, here they say gig workers for online grocery delivery, and it's not just for food deliveries, ladies and gentlemen, but also for the rideshare companies, right? There has to be attention drawn to hazard pay, and there's no better date than doing this on April Fool's Day. And we basically go to social media, we turn to social media and we say, this is not a joke. We want hazard pay, right? This is absolutely not a joke. We should have hazard pay. Now, here they say, gig workers for online grocery delivery service Instacart are planning a nationwide strike. I'm taking it a step further. Let's do a nationwide strike for all grocery deliveries, for all rideshare driving companies on April Fool's Day. right? Let's send a powerful message. This isn't a joke on April Fool's Day. Turn to social media, right? Get those hashtags out, attach the companies, attach the names of the CEOs on Twitter, and basically demand full force on April the 1st, full force demand danger pay and say, this ain't a joke, or who's your fool now? Does anybody know of any other live streams going on right now? Because 10 people in the house, let me just check quickly if anybody else is live streaming as we speak. Can't see that really right now. Is anybody else? Is the Apptrepreneur live streaming? No. Oh, it's premiering now. Oh, okay. Kevin has 31 people watching. That's cool. The Apptrepreneur's live. Who else is live? Does anybody know who else is live? I know I'm live, but I know that usually there's way more than 14 people in the room. Now, workers, starting Monday, they will refuse to accept orders until Instacart meets their demands, right? This is an initiative by Instacart, but we got to take it way, way, way further, my friends. They said that they're seeking $5 in additional hazard pay for each order, free safety provisions, including hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and soap, and paid sick leave for workers with pre-existing conditions who have been advised not to work by their doctors. So we got to, on April the 1st, greetings to Garcia, greetings to Jacob, but on April the 1st, we got to turn to social media and basically say $5 or more hazard pay for any type of trip, for any type of food delivery, right? Plus, demand those sanitizers, demand those gloves, demand those masks, right, from the companies, no matter which company it is, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Doordash, Uber Eats, everyone has to supply a minimum of a $5 hazard pay, plus all the essentials like these that you guys need during these times. Anybody give me some feedback as to who else might be doing a live stream? Or maybe I'll do another one very, very late tonight on the same topic. But I'm going to finish what I started here. California-based gig worker for Instacart and a lead organizer of the strike told the blog, sadly, Instacart's lack of engagement is the norm. And this goes beyond Instacart, right? We got to use Instacart, though, as one of the examples of gig working companies that need to add on hazard pay, right? For example, let me just show you another massive, massive company, right? These people here are working in the warehouses at Amazon, right? Even Amazon's largest warehouse hub has a coronavirus case. Workers say changes need to be made. So when they say workers say changes need to be made, you got to join us, ladies and gentlemen. Even all the Amazon workers, join us on I almost said on Amazon, join us on April Fool's Day and start creating those hashtags. This ain't a joke. Who's a fool now? Put the pressure on Amazon, put the pressure on Uber, put the pressure on Lyft, put the pressure on Doordash, put the pressure on Grubhub, put the pressure on Uber Eats. All of these demand an additional fee, let's say a starting point of $5 hazard pay per trip, per delivery, and per shift, right? Even on an Amazon shift, right? If you are in a warehouse, right? If you're running around through these aisles, I'm sure there's a person right there. You should be getting hazard pay because all of these products that have been shelved and shipped in, right? People have been touching them all around the country, all around the world. They come to these warehouses. People are unpacking, and it had to happen, right? Eventually, someone at Amazon got coronavirus. So even these Amazon people, even these Amazon workers, right, they got to stand in solidarity with us that we need hazard pay, ladies and gentlemen. And what I like about the gig workers, as I mentioned here, the gig workers, Instacart, they are turning to the streets. They protesting, and we got to join them. They say, our aim is to ensure public safety and the safety of our shoppers and customers. Instacart has refused to act, so we must. And we have to often take the fight into our own hands, right? Ladies and gentlemen, on April Fool's Day, we're going to take the fight into our own hands. I really want you guys to go to town on this day. Not only are we going to switch the apps off, right, but we're going to use that day to turn to social media. Invest the hours. If you don't have your Twitter account, set it up right now. If you don't have your Facebook account, set it up right now. If you don't have your YouTube account, set it up right now. Instagram, etc., etc., etc. Even if you have a LinkedIn account, right? I have about 11,000 contacts in my LinkedIn. I got to put out the message. Remember, there's a category there where you can write a message, you can hashtag, you can attach the @ sign, attach the people, attach the companies, and draw attention on April Fool's Day that we deserve hazard pay, right? So we gotta take a mammoth stand. Otherwise, we're not going to win this battle. Jose Barragan correctly says the 2 trillion should include hazard pay for essential workers. 100%, my friend. Not only should you get your check, Jose, as you said, but there should be a provision for hazard pay. Anybody going onto the front lines, anybody that is delivering is a soldier on the front line. Anybody that's driving a person or doing a gig work, right, and is deemed an essential worker is on the front line and deserves hazard pay. Very, very easy. And when can you make that statement? You can make that statement on the 1st of April, right? We switch off our apps. This is an online protest. We can switch off Amazon. We don't have to go to Amazon that day. I'm just saying, take a stand. You don't have to work for Instacart that day. Take a stand on April Fool's Day. You don't have to show up at Uber Eats and do deliveries. Take a stand. You don't have to do Grubhub. Take a stand. You don't have to drive passengers in Uber. Take a stand on April Fool's Day. You see where I'm going with this? Is that it's basically an online app protest on April the 1st, and you got to push it and turn to the social media demanding hazard pay. By the way, super excited about my new hat, like Dustin has. I can choose the topic for the day, let it run. So if somebody enters the room, oh, that is what Rideshare Professor is talking about. He's talking about hazard pay today. Mega Slob says drivers now have major bargaining power because these companies are starving. Thank you for saying that, right? He's 100% on the money when Mega Slob says drivers now have major bargaining power because these guys are desperate. They are starving for money. And remember, it's just sad. I was just reading a message about this young 17-year-old that died because of coronavirus. Just super sad. So workers from this gig workers collective advocacy group said in a statement, the Instacart has had several weeks to improve the safety conditions for workers. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't seen any hand sanitizer. I had to go and buy it for an expensive price. I haven't seen gloves. I had to pay 3 times the usual price. I haven't seen any masks from these companies. I had to source it from overseas friends, right? 1 second. Hey, Broseph.
What's up, Dad?
What are you doing, hon?
When are we going? Biking.
Do you want to go biking today?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got to get a jacket on. I'm in a live stream right now. Okay. So I'm on YouTube right now, but the moment I'm done with this, I'll drive down, then we'll go for a bike ride, okay?
Okay.
Okay, love you.
Love you too. I like the hat.
You like the hat? It's cool, right? Yeah, it's the first time I'm showing the hat to my live, in the live stream. Join me at the live stream. Just let me know if you can get in there. On my channel, Rideshare Professor.
All right, for sure.
Okay, love you. Bye. 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 Cool. That's my 16-year-old. So said they've ignored our request. So an emergency walk off is our only option. Our lives are on the line at this point. We cannot continue to work until our demands are met, the statement said. After initial publication of the story, Instacart told Huffington Post in a statement that we absolutely respect the rights of shoppers to provide us feedback and voice their concerns. Our goal is to offer a safe and flexible earnings opportunity to shoppers while also proactively taking the appropriate precautionary measures to operate safely. You know, they always have some sort of excuse, right? They have a great excuse, these gig companies. When the spokesmen are contacted, they can counter, they can, give their statement, but it's always so politically correct, as you've already said, as you've already heard there. I've just read this comment by Instacart, what they said, right? The company, which currently offers up to 14 days of pay for any hourly employee or full service shopper who is diagnosed with COVID-19 or placed in an individual mandatory isolation or quarantine, also said it's extending this assistance for another 30 days. I mean, they're basically saying the same as Uber. Instacart is saying exactly the same. They're modeling everything around Uber. Go out there, get sick. When you are sick, come and show us through a public health organization that you are sick. Instacart's adapting the same language, right? And it's terrible. It's basically just terrible how Uber, Lyft, Instacart, Doordash, Postmates, they must be all calling each other and say, listen, if they come for us, this is the way you handle it. This is the way the spokesman needs to reply. Dylan K in the house. Imagine wearing your coronavirus gloves indoors. Yeah, I just want to show the people what is actually needed, Dylan. That's my son over there, Dylan Kunert. I'm just showing the viewers what is needed by these companies, right? Dylan, they've made promises to send gloves, hand sanitizers. All of these companies have promised it. None of them have delivered in the last few weeks. None of these companies have delivered on their promises in the last few weeks. And therefore, we call them out. And that's my son in the room there, Dylan Kunert. Instacart also said it will be introducing a bonus payment for in-store shoppers, shift leads, and site managers that will be based on the number of hours worked from March the 15th through April the 15th and will range from $25 to $200. That's obviously for their employees. But my ladies and gentlemen, what about the drivers? What about the drivers? So what I say is to all those Amazon workers in the warehouses, to all the Instacart drivers, to all the Uber drivers, to all the Uber Eats drivers, to all the Lyft drivers, to all the Doordash drivers, to all the Grubhub drivers, stand up on what date? On April the 1st. Turn to social media, switch your apps off. Dylan says, wow. Yeah, these are the type of conversations we have with our online family, Dylan. We basically engage the drivers in the conversation and we come up with a ton of good suggestions and ideas in the video. And by the way, Dylan, and I'm talking to my son here, there must be a few other live feeds going on right now. Banda says, how's it going, mate? How are you? He's saying hi to Dylan. That's my son. But there must be a few other live feeds going on, Dylan, because usually the figure is around 100 to 150 people online. So when I see a figure of 23 at this time during the day, I know that there are a couple of other YouTubers live. So the audience is split up, which is fine. But the cool thing is what happens after people leave the live stream, they say, oh, I did get a link from Dustin. I did get a link from Torsten, the Rideshare professor. Let me go and check out his feed. They just, let's say they completed watching a feed with the entrepreneur Kevin. A lot of people are now at home live streaming. So those audiences get divided up a little bit. Does that make sense? Tim Olsen just said it. The entrepreneur is live streaming right now. That is probably why we have such a small audience. But all is fair, right? I should have checked up on that first. I usually check up who's live streaming. I'm super excited to go with my best friends there. Dylan's in the house. I'm going to go cycling after this. We're going to go for a nice bike ride. Myself on the cruiser, Dylan on the mountain bike, and then Ryan on a classic BMX, a Chromarley BMX Redline, which I used to race back in the day when I was about 14, 15 years old. So I have a pristine Chromarley BMX, which was sitting in a garage for more than 30 years. It wasn't driven. It is an immaculate shape, the same type of BMX you would have seen in the movie E.T. My son, Ryan. Dylan, yeah, go to Apptrepreneur and tell him, hey, Apptrepreneur, just go inside there, Dylan. Do me a huge favor and say, hey, this is Dylan, Rideshare Professor's son. My dad is live right now. Go and mix it up. Let's see if you can bring some people across. But again, I don't want to disrupt Kevin's channel, but Dylan, do me a huge favor and go jump in there, okay? And I will catch you later. I'm excited to go cycling with you. And then get your other little bros if online as well. I want to see Ryan Kunert there. And he goes, you bet. Omar says, good boy. Yeah. This guy is awesome. My 16-year-old, I mean, I am blessed. I am truly, truly blessed with these two kids. Look at this. One of my kids is in the room here. My fiance's children jump into the room very often as well. Greetings, brother, to Virginia. Good to see you guys here. So on April the 1st, please make a huge effort. And I'm going to announce this again and again as a build up to April Fool's Day. On April Fool's Day, we have to push hazard pay, right? We have to get off those apps collectively across the board, all gigs, right? And we have to turn to social media and call these people out. How do you do it? How do you get attention? For example, at Twitter, Dara Khosrowshahi's address is at DKHOS. You write that. It means he's included in the conversation. You want to get Tony West included in the conversation, at Tony West, right? They all have handles on Twitter. They all understand how hashtags work. You know, one hashtag that was circulating yesterday, which I really use a lot, was called Corona Villains, right? We got to use that. Let me just tell Kevin the Apptrepreneur, he's on right now.
Where should you put your money? People ask me all the time, they say, Kev, I got $10,000, I got $20,000, $5,000, $150,000.
Yeah, I have to say before I forget, Kev, you guys do realize there'll be a movie about this year. This will end up being a movie.
Oh, yeah,
this will going down. 2020 will be a movie.
Yeah, of course it's going to be a movie. We can get Steven Soderbergh, who made Contagion, to direct it.
I just had to say that after we're talking about Disney. I was just thinking, I'm like, I can see them making the movie out of this year. I can see it.
Kevin and
make a cartoon, and then they'll make the live action if it's Disney.
Oh, and Tense is in it.
They're trying to always get a twofer out of their scripts.
That's true. And then they might make it cartoon and then a real one as well. Yeah, that's 3. Plus a Broadway show.
and they can double dip on that script because, fun fact, some people ask, why do they make all the live action Disney movies? And it's like, well, for 2 reasons. One, they make money, but the second reason is animation writers are not part of the Writers Guild America. So when they reuse the scripts from the animated movies, those writers don't get royalties.
Oh my God. I also heard it had something to do with maintaining copyright for a longer period of time. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, not really. That doesn't have much to do with it because that's a new
Except I mean, the writers should always get paid.
Well, anyway, I sense that people in our chat are like, well, some people in the chat like the Disney talk. They like that. A few of us are nerds at heart, but let's start. Well, we'll probably focus mainly on Uber because I don't think do any of us do Airbnb really. Like,
no.
And
that's gonna stay in some rando's house. This sounds like
and that's kind
Jason
of like
movies.
And that's kind of like a weird situation because it's like people are renting their own property now. So I don't know if Airbnb even has the authority really to be asking for money for them.
What do you need the money for?
well, if
oh no, someone's not. I mean, you would think right now all their places are probably booked.
So there's a lot of good people in this live feed. And to be honest, I don't want to compete with them because this is their stage right now. I had no idea, so I apologize for this. It was truly not my intention to run a live feed at the same time. So I will wrap this up. Vegas, how are you?
I'm definitely leaning towards like Airbnb should have stayed out of it. Yes, if people wanted to buy a bunch of houses with the intention of doing something with their property, you know, that's frankly their fault, I think.
It's like telling house flippers it's their fault. They bought the house to flip.
I don't buy it. I don't think they really care about those people.
Oh no, they don't. Like I said, they're trying to, like Mark said, really. They're trying to buy good publicity, but with Uber, they made like a very interesting request. And actually, Mark made a video about this, so he'll probably be repeating himself to a certain extent in this podcast. But if you haven't watched that video, then well, that's one of the reasons we have the podcast.
So again, I was saying in the beginning,
Dara Khosrowshahi.
I was saying in the beginning that my live feed had very, very few people, and I was wondering why. Then somebody told me that Kevin was live streaming, so that's obvious. He was out there before, so.
He asked for money on the workers, and specifically, he wanted unemployment benefits to be extended to them. And as Mark pointed out in another video, Uber doesn't pay into unemployment.
Yeah, they don't.
It's kind of like they have a lot of galls to be asking for support in that area, and even doubly so because if they have $10 billion in reserve cash, maybe they should be taking care of their drivers.
Absolutely.
They now claim
that's what I said in the video I made about that too.
Yeah.
Dara writes a letter.
Yeah, so I think the only one who didn't make a video about this was, maybe I'm wrong, but Cecily, I think you're the only one who didn't make a video.
Not on this topic, nope.
So why don't we hear from you first about what you think, what you thought of. Do we need to reread his letter? No. Everyone knows what's in it?
No, I don't. Not off the top. What do you want me to reply to specifically? Like just what was said or his intention?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was hoping for.
I don't need to read the letter to know that it's a crock of
She's cool, I love her.
And
she's a firecracker.
It's a Southern expression. I really think that, do I even need to preface it this way? Just use the money that you have to take care of your drivers. It doesn't make any sense but to ask the government to help the people that you refuse to help over and over and over, year after year after year.
Derby1, how are you? Again, for those, Trickster, how are you, buddy? California in the house. So I was doing a video on Hazard Pay, calling for action on April the 1st, Rideshare, Trickster, that we all need to stick together and turn to social media on the 1st of April. And then I realized, why are the attendance figures so low? Why do I only have 25 people in the house? And my son's in the room right now. He says I talked to El Chapo. El Chapo is one of my subscribers, Dylan. He's a cool guy. And then I realized that these guys, somebody told me, hey, Kevin and the others are live right now. So I turned to their feed and I'm broadcasting them, giving them the center stage. And I'm very lucky to have my son Dylan in the room.
So never let a crisis go to waste, indeed. Cecily's making this funny face. I don't know if anyone can see it because I'm talking right now, but she's like shaking her head. She actually kind of reminds me of my wife when she gets mad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she shakes her head and twitches her mouth and frowns. It's like,
that's hilarious. I'm just so disgusted for people all of the time that they fought all these cases and saying that we don't deserve benefits, we're not employees, we're not essential to their business, and this is what you have to say. It's just still a slap in the face for all the people that have helped to make this company rich and to pay your salary.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they said that now that this goes into place, and has passed, that
Trump signed it. This is breaking news. It just hit. Trump signed it. It's $2.2 trillion.
2.2. Well, we knew it was going to happen. He already said it was, but that's cool. Now we all know for 100% it is signed. So,
but these are separate things. But we're part of the stimulus package regardless, whether we're independent contractors or not. They're basing it off of past tax returns. So it has nothing. Our current designation has nothing to do with whether we're going to get the money or not. And unfortunately, a lot of people that haven't filed tax returns, or folks that were minors and things like that, they don't get any money.
No. Well, I filed my tax return, thank God. Dustin.
Well, no, I was going to say now they also said with this going into play that their legal standpoint on whether we are employees or not could definitely be in threat of becoming employees now that this has gone through. I mean,
Goose, thank you, buddy.
Obviously, they're going to fight later on.
Had to get a hat like him.
It's just the simple fact that now that can come into play. Like, oh, look, well, they got unemployment. Only people that get unemployment are usually employers.
Oh, do you think Uber shot themselves in the foot by requesting this?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I think they shot themselves in the foot when they offered benefits for those who are self-isolated.
She's right on this.
Or diagnosed, because you are essentially offering sick pay. And
which
sick
means you're
pay
taking blame. You're acknowledging it and taking blame in a way. You know,
so I think, I thought that they shot themselves in the foot at that point by offering benefits somewhat. Yeah, you think we're employees, bro.
Yeah.
That's what we're going with.
Uber's response to this has been, Uber's response to a lot of things are really bad, but like watching them deal with this virus outbreak is especially funny because at first they were like, okay, here's some advice to protect from the virus, and then it got worse, and they're like, okay, if you're feeling sick, go strike. Home. And they're like, okay, well,
April 1st, online strikes, folks. Hazard pay. Hashtag hazard pay.
And it's like, well, shoot, that doesn't look good. So now we got to offer like 2 weeks pay, and then it's like, oh, but then they're going to start asking for unemployment. So like, okay,
we're talking about GoDonnyCom. We're talking about all the apps. All the apps.
They need to be part of the unemployment thing.
All the apps.
I think
every single gig one.
They're floundering personally. I don't think they know how to react.
We come up with creative slogans. Who's your fool? Or you're the fool now?
I don't think a lot of companies really honestly knew how to react. And that's why this bailout is going to be in place, because so many companies are just like.
Good conversation, by the way. Good topic. I like what Kevin initiated here.
Congress is shut down and all that crap. We've never had anything like this since, at least not since I've been alive, where everything went down this dramatic. Yeah. And this harsh and everything else, and so much panic. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy time to be here right now. And like I said, this will be made into a movie at some point. This will definitely probably go.
Contagion 2.
You know, but like, it's definitely crazy.
For those of us that make it, right?
The what?
For those of us that make it.
No, that's true. I know. I'll be one of those that make it. I ain't stuck in this place. I think a lot of people.
What'd you say, Mark?
I think there's a lot of
my friend Uber Hints.
I don't think
they actually. What's happening is that they are live streaming on another channel. So I did not know that. So I don't want to take the stage away from these are top YouTubers.
It's not because politicians are so generous. We paid for that. That's our money. Secondly, a stimulus package is not so I can pay my bills. A stimulus package is just what the name implies. It's to try to stimulate the economy, because we are in such an ugly place right now. We are at risk of not only getting into a recession, but getting into a depression. So the whole idea is just to try to get money flowing. Now, about Ghastly Down. I help myself. People talk about being employees or being independent contractors. I can't argue with them too much, because I've been saying for many years now, and I've been consistent on this, I kind of agree with them that there probably needs to be a third category. The world's different. Just because, in 1923 they decided that there should be independent contractors and employees doesn't mean it has to stay that way for the rest of history. I think there might be an opportunity, but you can't make
San Diego Rideshare Pro Thomas Gibson in the house. How are you, buddy?
Finally,
Thomas, I was doing a live stream, and then I was like, wow, why are the numbers so low, right? And then I realized that Kevin had initiated a live stream with a few other ones. So we basically giving them the exposure now. and April Fool's Day,
I'm not
we're going to bring attention to hazard pay. So I'll do another live stream tonight when they're done.
It's not gonna
Good to see you,
happen
Thomas.
until January 1st. I'm not going to tell you who the YouTuber was, okay? So
Why is
anyway,
everyone always talking about me?
Thomas, anybody else sign up there?
the whole point is there's a lot going on here, and I think people just look at this. I know that people probably get sick of it, but I try to pound it into people. On my channel, that you gotta look below the surface at what's really happening here. And usually, the reason people say they're doing things is usually not the reason.
It's a good, very, very good session.
Kind of like I'm
Very
not
good
doing
session, yeah.
YouTube to make money. If I was doing that, I would be one of those people with my tin cup out trying to get money from the government.
No, but we do all have patrons, I think. So just
I make money on YouTube. I mean, everybody knows that.
You're the only one here that does.
well,
No.
I
make money on YouTube.
I make money on YouTube. Not as much as I used to, but I do make money on YouTube. So, Mark, you're the only one who doesn't make money on YouTube.
I think I pay money. I think I have to pay them in order to put my videos on.
Or maybe more collabs. I don't know. I actually, by the way, noticed that the years that I did like collabs with people, that's when I got more views and subscribers than anyone because everyone. So I don't know.
So Kevin's just admitted to exploiting us now for his money and views. That's cool, Kev.
Yeah.
Hey, a fellow Coke Zero drinker. All right. You just went up
It's
and
the
down
wife's.
my phone.
I didn't want to go into my Dr. Pepper stash. I'm running low. She's not.
I'm not going to tell you what I have in the glass today.
I've got water.
I won't tell you what I added to
You don't
the
want
Coke Zero.
And anyway, that was a great discussion. Now Cecily did let me know in advance that she pretty much had an hour because she had a meeting to go to. So we have hit an hour and 1 minute. So we are going to wrap this up. I do want to mention one more little thing. Fellow UberTuber, Ulanti Peterson, who runs the channel Ride with Peterson, he's actually been on this podcast a couple times, one of the co-hosts. He unfortunately had a stroke, and so the left side of his body is numb. He can't feel it. He's currently in the hospital. We don't know of any GoFundMes or anything just yet, but we all kind of want to wish him the best of luck. We hope he gets better, and because we're there for each other. We want to be there for each other as best as we can. So just wanted to throw that out there. If anyone goes to his channel, leave some well wishes or something to that effect.
Definitely go over there and show them some support, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, Cecily has already left us, so we will consider her have said goodbye because she had her meeting. So
awesome, fun unemployment.
So much for joining us.
Awesome.
Today.
I've walked a lot of
Yeah, man, no problem. Thank you for having me.
a lot of people through the process.
I might even go live now too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we might. Well, after we go through the So yeah, if anyone wants Dustin to be like a permanent co-host or something, leave the comments. We'll be rotating the co-host for a little while, but then we'll kind of make a decision near the summer or something. So yeah, if you like his job,
bring Dustin in on live streams. The guy attracts.
It was just like I said, we had too much on our plate today, but we will be going through the questions.
Exactly,
we'll
Thomas. Will do.
In the next episode. And Mark, thank you for joining us. Have people? I guess the one thing I forgot to ask you is: are people warming up to Mark's travel times yet?
Things have been kind of stagnant. I think people are not recognizing that it's the same channel. Because I did the name, so it probably was not a good decision. But
That's true. The only people who are going to help out drivers or other rideshare drivers. And by the way, in my rentals, I rented SUVs and Priuses to Peterson, and he still owes $2,500 of retroactive rentals. We'll probably forgive that money.
I just don't know that people understand.
Tony Romo of ride sharing. It was well said, Lorenzo.
No, just make it like Mark's World or something. Survive.
Mark's World.
Now, since what's going on, but
Question is, would you subscribe to Mark's World?
Maybe I with Geo Chicago.
Yeah.
They're poking at Geo.
Yeah. Maybe.
People too afraid. People are too afraid to comment.
The car, I don't know.
Oh, before we go, I have to tell you guys something. I picked up a new troll this past week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's a guy there, and he started asking some questions. At first, I thought that it was legitimate. I started answering the question. Then I realized, oh, this guy's just trolling, trying to it turned out that he was another Uber tuber. And he's either trying to build up views for his channel, or one or two other people sent him in. But
which state are you in? Media Night Radio?
I have my own troll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the.
Been depressed. We've all been getting it.
I'm actually a little bit more surprised that the trolls haven't been more active, because they were bored before. You think they'd really be bored now. But anyway, folks, that's where we are going to end the monthly Rideshare podcast, which again, maybe it'll turn to the weekly Rideshare podcast for a time being. I don't know. It depends how much cabin fever we get, but you know the drill. We want to know what you think about.
Like his video. Everybody like his video.
Should we have more sound effects courtesy of Mark? All that jazz. So you know the drill. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.
Or don't. Flame responsibly or don't.
Hey, don't encourage them. Don't encourage them.
I agree with you, Thomas. And what we're going to do, Thomas, now that feed is over, maybe the viewers will increase here. I did not want to speak while they were online. I was just confused as to why the numbers were so low, right? But now that I understand that there was a live feed on, and basically, as you saw, I was holding the live feed up, giving them the center stage. But back to the topic that I chose, hazard pay. Anybody in the military, I'm sure, would know or call this danger pay, hazard pay, whatever you may want to call it. But while this coronavirus is real, I truly believe the companies should factor in a minimum of $5 hazard pay, whether per food delivery, per driver brought to a destination, no matter what company it is, right? Instacart, Doordash, Grubhub, even over here, even these guys in the warehouses at Amazon, because they already have coronavirus cases. Even an Amazon worker going to work, picking up parcels, readying them for delivery should have a danger pay. Why is this so difficult to introduce? Why don't CEOs like Jeff Bezos, Logan Green, Derek Kay, why don't they have the courage to introduce a hazard pay? I'm sure their clients, their clientele, the people that have Prime, Amazon Prime, the people that have Uber Eats accounts wouldn't mind paying hazard pay. And I mean, can you imagine on every transaction in the gig economy, you are raising $5 hazard pay and you're pooling it, right? Whether all companies are pooling it together for rainy days or whether they individually have their pools. We have to bring attention to this on April Fool's Day. You know, who's your fool now? Don't make a fool of us. Whatever you want to do, hashtag it and call for danger pay, right? And I'm requesting that all the companies that I've mentioned in the feed, right, in this feed, in the tagline, that we switch our apps off for a week, because that's known as an online protest, right? And they were talking, Kevin, Dustin, and all of them were talking about this in the beginning of their feed, right? That they basically just pushed the responsibility onto that 2 million stimulus, saying, you know, we've washed our hands, we're done, we're not part of this conversation, let the state bail you out. They have to be bigger than that, they have to be larger than that, right? They have to step up as true leaders. One would think they would do this, and then introduce some innovative ways, some helpful ways, innovative ways of drumming up money. Right, Rideshare Trickster? By the way, if you haven't subscribed to Rideshare Pro or Rideshare Trickster, we have 2 YouTubers in the house. Please go and lend them your support. That's how we all help each other out. Go and subscribe to them. And every one of them is contributing amazing videos, right? Rideshare Pro says, San Diego Rideshare Pro says, bring Derek K on our live stream. Believe it or not, Thomas, I've actually sent him invitations. I've emailed invitations. You know, they say there is an email for Derek K floating out there. I've sent in written request for him to come on. But my guess is he just doesn't have the goonies, the balls to come onto these live streams. When they do a live stream, they switch the comments off because they know how dangerous it's going to be. Rideshare Trickster says, I suggested a $5 surcharge to both Lyft and Uber, and they both basically said, if you're not happy, don't drive, stay at home. They truly don't care. Exactly. So Rideshare Trickster sums up their attitude. They just don't care, right? And you know, this morning, Pierre Dimitri, anybody heard of Pierre Dimitri? Gore Cody, Pierre Dimitri Gore Cody, that's his name. He's the chief of Uber Eats. He goes out there and says basically, it was such a desperate plea that people should sign up for Uber Eats. But I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, you remember that saying, or do you know that saying, once bitten, twice shy? If you have been bitten again and again and again and again by Uber, if you have been bitten again and again and again by Derek K, do you honestly think you're going to sign up with Uber Eats? I would say once bitten, twice shy. You go. Where do you go? Instacart, where do you go? Postmates, where do you go? Doordash, where do you go? Grubhub, a lot of other options, right? So, but we need to bring attention to all of these companies, all the ones that I just mentioned, including Amazon and Amazon drivers, all taxi drivers, all associations, that on April Fool's Day, take a stance, switch off your apps, right, for a week if you can, and turn to social media. Did you guys read that story about the Uber driver that contracted coronavirus, provided the proof to Uber, right, and said, please, I'm basically dying, I need the $2,100 help? They wouldn't reply. So he was hammering them on Twitter, 24 different tweets. And then the legal department gets back to him and says, only on the conditions that you sign this contract and that we'll pay this money, right? We're acknowledging you have coronavirus. We're acknowledging that you should get the $2,100, but only before you sign off, and we can tie your hands and you admit that you are an independent contractor. So he didn't take the bait. He kept on hammering them on Twitter until it became a public embarrassment for Dara and Tony West, and they paid out. Really sad. Rideshare Trickster, is it true that Uber asked for $50 million and plan on temporarily shutting down the app? They actually did ask for money. I don't know what the amount is. It could very well be $50 million, but believe it or not, obviously they asked the government to bail us out, the drivers, and then they had the cheek and the audacity to ask for money themselves. I mean, that takes a lot of courage and balls, right? That's like cheek factor 10, that they went out there and said, oh, by the way, we would also like money out of the stimulus package. RM Zaya says, Florida unemployment benefits are a joke. The maximum amount is $275. I heard the maximum is $600 per week, right? Again, I'm not sure for which state. It may be for California. New Jersey, I know, is actually higher than California. Florida, you're right, it might be $275. But I do believe in California, it's $600 per week for a maximum of 4 months, right? So give and take, if you do the calculations, $2,400 in California, right, Trickster? So if we were to file it, if Trickster or Thomas Gibson or myself were to file it, that's $600 per week, $2,400 per month times 4 months, you're looking at $9,600. You're not working, unemployment pay, right? Leo Casamente, absolutely right. Horrible, horrible companies, not just one company. I mean, Uber is not the only bad boy here. There's a lot of bad boys in town, right? Uber is not the only company that's doing the shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen. They're all not willing to pay hazard pay. They're all not stepping up. They all haven't delivered hand sanitizers. They all haven't delivered the gloves and all those promises. Remember that song from the 80s? None of them have lived up to the promises. What they've done, sly, in a very Fox sly way, it's like, hey, government, bail these guys out, get them off our back, get these drivers off our back. I say to these CEOs of all the companies in my title line, on April Fool's Day, when we switch off the apps, right, we turn to social media, guys, please do me the favor, sign up tonight with all those social media channels. Do a Google search. Hey, what are all the top 10 social media channels? May it be Twitter, may it be Facebook, may it be YouTube, may it be Instagram, may it be TikTok. Sign up for all of them. If need be, promote some of your brands or your codes, but use those platforms to go after these companies on April the 1st. Things like who's your fool, who's the fool now, we are not the fools, you're the fool, whatever you want to hashtag, right? But that is the golden opportunity to hit them hard on the 1st of April. I think we should use that date, right? So people that are currently striking or calling on a strike, I know the Instagram workers are busy working out a big strike. I did that at the beginning of the video. Sorry, it's taking a little bit long to load, but Instacart is out there and they are calling on all of their drivers to strike. They're threatening to strike. There it is, right? They're threatening to strike. So I just clicked on this article here, and it said Instacart gig workers threaten to strike. What I'm saying is that on April the 1st, across the board, all gig companies should strike, all of us. And if you don't mind, if we could rally up a little bit, we have 21 likes up there. My son is, when I'm coming for the when am I coming bike riding? Finishing up. 1 second. Finishing up. Finishing up. So I promised my kiddos I would go and for a nice long bike ride up in the trails there, and up in Agura Hills. So I got to live up to that promise. You cannot break promises with kids. They expect you to be there. So I want to use this opportunity just before the hour mark to wrap this up, this feed. And then please, on April 1st, whatever you want to make the topic of the day, include this, because if we push for hazard pay or danger pay and we do enough online, switching off online apps, and we're turning to social media on that day instead, and they will get our attention. Rolf Stark, they should pay us more. The pay is fairly much the same. Hence, hazard pay, hazard pay, hazard pay, hazard pay. Lorenzo says, our house. No, our house is actually by Madness. Men at Work has a, Men at Work is down under. I come from a land down under, but our house is our house in the middle of the street. That's Madness. But Men at Work was a fantastic band at the same time, remember? Roger Fadel's in the house. Let's see what else we got here. Cool. Media Night Radio, absolutely text me. If you have my number, you can text me or email me. Here's my email, and my text is usually under all my videos, right? And again, if I could hear from you guys, what do you think are the two best times during the day to do a live feed? Do people have more time at night? Do people have more time in the morning? Or is it midday? When do you think is the best time for me? And I want to take your guidance to live feed. 4 p.m. Okay, cool. That's good to know. 4 p.m. Good. I will write that down. 4 p.m. I like that. Can't survive. I like it. Can survive under. Can survive under 5. Very cool. Hashtag. Can survive under 5. Trickster starting a great hashtag. My friends, amigos, meine Freunde, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm sure a few people jumped after the 4 to 4:30, which is cool. Thank you, Thomas. So 4 p.m. does seem like the best time. Anyone out there that has gone and filed their unemployment? Anybody out there, has anybody filed for unemployment? Oh, do a call out in the morning and say, okay, that's a good idea. So let people know. Let people know what time. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, on that matter, you can email me. I sent you my email. Are you in California, Media Night Radio? I'll help you. California, there are ways around it. You have to work with that online, the UI. Where do you start it? I think it is, gosh, it's on edd.ca.gov/BPO, I want to say. And that's a wild guess now. But there is a process. There is a process. There are fields, obviously, where you can put the employer there. I mean, they're not really your employer, but you sort of, they don't have it set up for gig workers or for independent contractors. So you got to basically use what they have and jig it a little bit, right? Oh, I see what you mean. Text 11. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that, Robin. Appreciate that. Cool. Well, I'll keep them coming. I will be more respectful towards the other live streamers. I just jumped in there today while somebody else was live streaming, so I learned a lot from that. What I'll do is I'll check out all the YouTubers first. If they are not live streaming, then I will jump on. But to have 2 or 3 live streams going and splitting the audience is not what I want to do. I don't want to split their audience. Okay. And again, let's gear up on a couple of live feeds for this topic. Very, very important topic, which is called hazard pay, right? We truly, truly need hazard pay. 333 evening. Okay. I might do one like early mornings and one evenings. I'm trying to do 2 feeds a day. And in between, I'm building out another channel beyond Rideshare, beyond the Rideshare world. Super stoked, super excited about that. Many of you, thank you very much for subscribing to that other channel. All right. Hazard pay would be brilliant. I mean, how about $5 hazard pay? $5 per food delivery, $5 per, are you guys going? I'm heading out to Dylan and I'm going to go cycling right now.
You don't want to go hiking with us?
They were asking me, or maybe I can pick them up and we can go all hiking together.
Yeah, but that's going to be late.
Okay, then I'm heading over there and doing a bike ride with them.
Have fun.
Okay, bye. I'm finishing up this live stream.
Bye.
So Laura and them are going hiking. I'm going biking with my kids. We're going to go outdoors. My friends, thank you. I appreciate you all. Can you just pump up, smack that that thumbs up button, please, so I can get it a little bit up, at least to 35. Thank you so much. 29. 29 in the back row, 29 for the first, anybody 30, 33, thank you, sir, 33 in the front row, 33 in the front row for the first, 35 there in the back to the left, thank you very much, 35 for the first, 35 for the row, 36, anybody, 36 in the middle, anybody, 36 for the first, we have a bidder in the front, thank you, thank you, sir, 37 for the first, 38, ma'am, thank you for the bid, 38 in the front, everybody for 39, anybody for 39, 38 in the front, 38 for the first, 39, thank you to the gentleman right in the back, 39, we've got 39, anybody willing to go over 39, can we get it to 40, can we get it to 40, 39, 40, thank you, we have bidded it up all the way to 40, MW just walked in, unemployment sucks, very, very confusing, very difficult, yes, but you got to get through it and you got to get on the phone for them. But they're overwhelmed right now. So again, we don't want to waste a few days. So just try and initiate the process by actually signing up, creating a username, password, email, to set up your account so you're in. So you're not wasting time. Just get into the mix and create that account. And then slowly but surely, I'm sure that several of those states are making modifications. In fact, even the California website said it's down from 6 p.m. onwards because they're doing modifications. So you will see if you're trying to file in California at 6 p.m., they shut down. They're incorporating all this new news. There's a lot of stuff these programmers now have to include in the online forms, right? Okay, my friends, I so appreciate you. As Rideshare Trickster says, remember, hashtag can't survive under 5. You guys rock. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Yes, ma'am.